Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on the Cycling Dane Extra channel, or if you're listening on the Cycling Dane podcast. As always, I'm joined by Patrick Blake of AYUSO Cycling, and today we are going through stage 16 of the Giro d'Italia. And Patrick, what exactly happened on this absolutely horrific and brutal stage?
Yes, stage 16 of the Giro d'Italia, and pretty much the first big mountain day that we're all looking forward to. We've made it through 2 weeks to get to this point, to have a big GC fight. And it was raining pretty badly at the start, and I just felt really bad for them. There was like 180 plus kilometers still to go, and it was just pouring with rain. There was an initial breakaway. I remember there was like Tarling and Wout van Aert were up in there, but Tarling crashed, and so he's abandoned the race. And that breakaway stays away until the first category 2 climb, up the first climb, where we see then another sort of group joins over, obviously because the climb's a better place to leap over, and that includes riders like Scaroni, Fortunato, Cepeda, Darren Rafferty. Obviously Wout van Aert is still up in there as well, and lots of riders for some of the big teams. So there was like Bilbao up there for Bahrain, there was Kim Hyde up there for the Ineos Grenadiers. So there was a lot of cards being played quite early on. We then see on the descent of that climb, there was some crashes going on. There was Martinelli, I think he is okay, but that looked like a pretty serious crash. Bernal went down, but he got back up as well. But most notably, Primož Roglic went down, which is about as certain as the sun rising in the morning. And he abandons the race, does Roglic, which is pretty sad to see. But obviously the writing was on the wall a little bit when he was getting dropped the other day. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe he can, go and focus on his Tour de France preparation now. But those aside, we then move on to kind of the next big climb, which is it was like 12 kilometers at 8%. I think we're seeing some moves being made there. We see the Ineos Grenadiers going to the front. We see the EF Education Easy Post going to the front as well, setting a pace. UAE Emirates were kind of there as well, but we're seeing obviously some riders going out the back. I think it was like a Rensman goes out the back, and then also surprisingly, Juan AYUSO goes out the back as well. I couldn't believe it. I was like, we've lost Roglic and then AYUSO in the space of 100 kilometers or so. Don't really know why. I think he's picked up some knocks, but pretty much the lights just went out, and AYUSO was dropped off the back. And honestly, not even teammates were sent back to help him, really. I think he might have had Igor Arrieta, but no Micah, no Adam Yates or anything was sent back to help him. So pretty brutal. They were kept with Isaac Del Toro at the front of the race. But like I said, we're seeing EF and Ineos setting a hard pace on the front, but kind of inadvertently, then Bernal ends up dropping off the back of that group, but then makes his way back on. On the descent, obviously, we've still got that breakaway up ahead. That's whittled down quite a bit on that climb, down to a select group containing like Wazard, Scaroni, Fortunato, Laser, Bilbao, I remember being up there as well, and Sylvain Monique, might have been one or two others. But we're going on to the final climb of the day. We're seeing Fortune, I think it was, Wazard attacks first, then there's some messing around going on in a breakaway. Astana kind of working people over. Bilbao's dropped, Monique's dropped, and eventually you end up with a scenario where it's just Fortunato, Cepeda, and Scaroni. Scaroni attacks. Cepeda is forced to work. Fortunato attacks over to Scaroni. So then it's 2 Astana riders at the front of the race, and they pretty much tend to ride off. Then what's really interesting, I wanted to get that out of the way first. Then it was the big GC fight, where I'm going to try and recall to you what happened. Wout van Aert's working on the front because he was in the break. That then leads to Simon Yates attacking, which draws out Del Toro and Carapaz and Derek G. Rubio and Toro were there initially, but were dropped. After a little bit of cat and mousing, obviously all the other riders like Tiperi, Caruso, Bernal, they're, setting their own pace. We then see Carapaz launching a massive counterattack off of Simon Yates' attack, which he did on the steepest part, and it's a brutal attack. Yates can't respond to it, Del Toro can't respond to it, G can't respond to it, and Carapaz is absolutely flying up his mounting. Oh, Pellizzari attacked before then as well. Just side note, on all this. Carapaz is absolutely flying up his climb. He eventually bridges up to Pellizzari and starts working together with him. Yates, a G sets off afterwards because Simon Yates and Del Toro are looking at each other. But then But the third big thing that happens is that then Del Toro, you can see it, he's doing like this. Like he is bobbing on the bike. And Yates doesn't even really attack. Del Toro just drops off the wheel, and it's an absolute calamity for the UAE Team Emirates squad, the absolute juggernaut squad, just falling apart at the seams. It is just mind-blowing to see. So now we've got Carapaz, Yates, and Del Toro all riding, and they're all kind of in the ballpark of taking the Maya Rosa at this point. Carapaz needs to gain 40 seconds on Yates. Yates needs to gain a minute something on Del Toro. We then see, basically, towards the finish, we see that Scaroni takes the win ahead of Fortunato, which is really nice to see. Fortunato, obviously, he's got the jersey. Scaroni hasn't had a Grand Tour stage win. It's kind of nice for him. But then we're seeing, Carapaz is putting time into Del Toro, who even Adam Yates and Bernal bridge up to Del Toro to help pace, which is just crazy. It really goes to show just how much the lights went out for Del Toro, which means that ultimately, so the top 10 of the stage 16 of the Giro d'Italia is that Christian Scaroni wins ahead of Lorenzo Fortunato. Side note, they then pick up 310 UCI points from that. Giulio Pellizzari in third, Richard Carapaz in fourth at a minute and 10. Keep that in mind. Derek G in fifth, Cepeda in sixth, Stora seventh, Simon Yates in eighth. He's a minute 52 down, so 42 seconds down on Carapaz. Alain Reza in ninth, Voisard in 10th. Then we have Bernal 11th, Caruso 12th, and Del Toro in 13th. Del Toro is 2 minutes 46 down, which is a minute 36 lost to Carapaz, and it's 54 seconds lost to Simon Yates, which means that the GC standings are that Del Toro remains in the lead of the race. 26 seconds on Simon Yates in second place, and Richard Carapaz is in third, 31 seconds down. So the top three of the Giro d'Italia is spread over 31 seconds. That's as much as I can remember. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely one of the best stages I've witnessed, I think, in the Giro d'Italia for a very long time. And yeah, a lot to unpack. Well, you summarized a lot of it, which is good. But let's start with Astana, because Astana has such a rich history in the Giro d'Italia. They won it with Nibali, they won it with Contador, and now they have this monkey on their back of the World Tour relegation battle. And here, as you told us all in the preview, they're going for the blue jersey because there's UCI points attached to that. And here getting a 1-2 and virtually having the strongest grip on this blue jersey. What a ride. And I mean, I think Astana, their transfers in was impeccable. Their tactics here, really good. They got enough riders in the break and wow, just wow. But what do you think of Astana?
It was so impressive today. And like you say, the tactics even was just impeccable. They had Scaroni, Fortunato and Masnada in the break. Masnada paced until that second to last climb, where then it was just Fortunato who attacked early and kind of whittled the group down. Obviously, Scaroni went with him because that was very useful for the final climb, which had some downhill sections in there and some lesser gradients. So useful to keep Scaroni in there. Fortunato was just taking every single one of those KOM points, and Scaroni pretty much just shadowed him into second place. The 9 people behind, but it's just really good because I think you might even get UCI points for KOM points. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was super impressive. And I thought honestly that final climb they played super well, didn't they? Voisard was up the road, but they kept it calm, brought him back. Pretty much initially after they caught him, they put the hammer down a bit, just to put him out the back. It might have been Scaroni dropped him off the back and then attacked away from him. Super impressive. And then even dropping Cepeda, Scaroni attacks first. Fortunato uses Cepeda to work for 1.5 kilometers through a downhill sector as well, so he gets an even amount of rest, and then attacks him on the steep gradient up to Scaroni. It was just impeccable tactics from Astana today, and they are thoroughly rewarded with a 1-2, which also, side note, is the first stage win for Italy in quite a long time. They actually end up getting a 1-2-3 today, which is really impressive. And for Astana, the 310 UCI points is pretty big.
Yeah, completely. I don't know where to go now because we have so many things to talk about. Maybe Primoz Roglic because you mentioned Pellizzari, and we actually said in stage 15, the recap, that, well, you said he needed not to be babysitting this grandma of Roglic, and we were speculating whether Roglic, because he had a difficult day then, if he was actually going to leave the rest or leave the race on the rest day. And then here we are, stage 16, he's gone. Not quite sure what happened because I don't, well, the live broadcast didn't actually show the crash, but I mean, he's crashed a number of times, so the knocks will have definitely taken, like, accumulated a bit. Where does Roglic go from here, and where does Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe go from here as well in the Giro?
Well, Roglic goes to the Tour and
Simple.
hopes to hopes to stay upright, I suppose. How many times has he crashed in this race? 3, 4? The gravel stage, the TT Recon today. Was there another one in there as well? Did he crash in the stage which Asgreen won? He might have done. That one with a huge bottleneck. I don't know. He might have. He's crashed at least 3 times. Yeah, so he's got to go to the Tour and hope that he's. I don't think Roglic's injuries are never like substantial. It's just like they really kind of knock him, like the abrasions and the just the little kind of chunks it takes out of him. Because obviously it makes you not on your absolute best game. So I think it was honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if Roglic didn't start today. So I thought it was quite noble that he did. But obviously that crash was sort of the final straw. And I don't blame him for abandoning the race, even if he could have continued. It just didn't make sense to continue in these last few really difficult days. Just to eventually drop down the GC order to like 20th in GC is just a futile use of energy. So I think it's a smart decision to leave the race, whether it was necessary or not. And in terms of where they go, I think it's just Pellizzari now, pretty much. Put some, try a little bit more in the breakaway. There's definitely, based upon today, it's possible that some breakaways might go a little bit more because Visma Lease Bike and EF Education Easy Post are the teams who are tasting blood right now, right? They are the ones who want to dethrone Del Toro. But I just don't think they have the teams to control a stage, like a big mountain stage, all the way through. That's what UAE Team Emirates has. So you might end up with more breakaways going just because those teams, Visma Lease Bike and EF, can't control. So I mean, Pellizzari, I'm not sure whether he'd be allowed to go in the breakaway because he's 4 minutes 36 down, but he could still finish top 10 in GC. So maybe somebody like Aliotti or Danny Martinez, they could try and get a stage win with.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame Daniel Martinez, no support last year, really. Unlucky with Lipovic crashing early on and then still getting a second place. Here, okay, the caliber of riders is a bit higher this year, I think, overall. But here, it's kind of like, if you just had Daniel Martinez up there in the GC, maybe he could have snuck onto the podium or really been there because he's quite an explosive rider. So when Carapaz was going at it, yeah. But I mean, Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe are very, very unlucky. Giro, Jade Hindley out, now Roglic. So yeah, bit of a shame from them. But yeah, we might as well. The big carrot of this video, UAE Team Emirates imploding. Not by themselves, obviously, but it was enforced by other teams. Like you said, they tasted blood. AYUSO, I heard a knee injury from a crash, and then Del Toro, obviously in such a unique position, still has the Maglia Rosa, as you said, but yeah, stage 17 is looking very hard now with Motorola. Granted, it's not the tough side, but still tough. But he did get out of this with the Maglia Rosa, so fair play to him, to say the least. Having the likes of Simon Yates and Carapaz with so much experience, both of them Grand Tour winners, and that's what you're up against. And it's kind of no mercy. And yeah, I think this was a big learning curve for Del Toro today and UAE Team Emirates because they looked so good. They were so in control before the San Valentino. It was like you've got Rafa Micah, you've got Adam Yates, everything's under control, and then Carapaz just opened the floodgates.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, wasn't it? Blown apart by one Ecuadorian man, just on a mission from God. I was just looking at tomorrow's stage. Like you say, the Mortirolo, but the rest of the stage isn't that difficult, I would say. it depends how difficult the Mortarolo and the Tonale climb are made. But you've only got Le Motte, which is 3K at 8%. But that does crest with kind of less than 10Ks to go. Maybe you see Carapaz giving it a go, really deploying his team on the Mortarolo, make it difficult. You might see EF put a satellite rider or two up there, or Visma Lisa bike as well. For Simon Yates, maybe that's a better strategy to test Del Toro on the Mortarolo, and then off of a descent when there's, a valley and kind of flatter land. It might be better to try with satellite riders. So I definitely think tomorrow might be for like a breakaway. And, if they want to make the most of every opportunity to test Del Toro, the Mortarolo is the place to do it tomorrow. But there are obviously other stages coming up. It's not just kind of stage 17. There are other stages where they could test Del Toro. And the fact that they're both within 30 seconds, I mean, UAE Team Emirates, just an absolute implosion today, like you say, with Del Toro losing time, AYUSO just completely cracking. It was just crazy to see. I don't think I've ever seen a UAE Team Emirates like this. They've always seemed so insurmountable in any bike race. But is that just a Pogacar effect? Is it once you remove Pogacar, is the team actually a little bit frail? Boy, that's gonna rustle some feathers.
I mean, they've been looking quite good with Juan Ayuso and Almeida this year in different races. But yeah, you're right. Pogacar is just like a step above everyone. And the other riders are more like in the trenches with the other top GC riders. But yeah, this is crazy. I don't know where they go from here with Juan Ayuso either. He's 17th now, behind Tom Pidcock, a fellow under 23 Giro d'Italia state winner. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait a bit longer for these recent under 23 winners to win the Giro. What do you do with Juan Ayuso?
No, I have no idea.
Do you think he's going to abandon?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Unless the pain which he might be suffering from is going to be detrimental towards future goals in the season, he would be best kept in the race to try and support Del Toro as best as possible. Or you just put him into the breakaway tomorrow if he's capable of doing it, if that's even like a possibility. But it's hard, isn't it, for UAE Team Emirates? Because now there's being on the back foot, and then there's being on the back foot. This is unprecedented. Del Toro is in a position where Carapaz and Yates are just going to want to absolutely test him at every opportunity. And UAE may have a really strong squad, but at the end of the day, it's Del Toro who needs to be the one who can face these guys. And if it's not tomorrow, then it'll definitely be in one of the following days, absolutely on stage 20. So it's really hard because you can't just say, go for a breakaway, whatever. It's like you're too far invested at this point. You have to invest in Del Toro until the point where he loses to Maya Rosa. And at that point, you're going to have to fight to try and get him back into it.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard. I mean, final point, we might as well look at the overall picture of the GC guys. I mean, Simon Yates, very strong. Richard Carapaz as well. Like you said, their teams aren't the strongest, and they probably in hindsight would have wanted to load their teams a bit more with some strong climbers if they knew that the Giro could have been up for grabs. I mean, they should have thought it anyway. And EF Education, you suppose, Carapaz is kind of their crown jewel. So, but I don't know who else they would kind of load in their team. Is there anyone we're missing? Nilsson Paulus, maybe? Could that have been someone they stacked in the team?
Yeah, possibly.
But I mean, that aside,
yeah.
What do you think of their chances now? Who's in pole position? Egan Bernal looked fairly strong as well, but is it Carapaz, and he's going to continue that momentum? But the steam did get out of it. Like, he did let up towards the end. It kind of, Pellizzari got rid of him.
Yeah, it's a good point. He's very good at these aggressive attacks, and I think that Carapaz has to be the person in the driving seat now, doesn't he? Even if he is the one furthest from the Maya Rosa of the three, the way he's just riding is just unbelievably impressive. And I think that he has probably a team slightly more orientated to the mountains compared to Simon Yates. So I think he's got I think Carapaz for me is the one. He just looks the part, doesn't he? Like when he's going up those mountains, he looks like he's a man destined to gain time on his opponents. Yates, I think, he played his hands today, but I think that he was definitely a bit more focused on Del Toro than Carapaz. But now Carapaz is right back in the game, so it's a super interesting Giro. To have such a close fight going this late into the race is definitely what the organisers and us as viewers and fans of the sport really want.
But anyways, with that high note, that's basically it for this recap race analysis of stage 16. We'll be back for stage 17. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you thought of the stage, and check out Patrick's own channel as well. I'll do cycling, and we'll be back for more. But with that, thank you for watching, and we will see you around. Boom. Okay, I'll get on with that, and I'll call you in the morning or something so we can actually chat.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, see you later.
All right, see you.